Look at you. Those 3 words. That finger pointed at my face like a weapon. That's all it took for my entire world to crack open right there at my desk on a random Tuesday morning in Philadelphia. I couldn't breathe. My chest tightened, my throat closed, and I felt every single pair of eyes in that office burning into my skin. The fluorescent lights above me suddenly felt like spotlights, and I was the main act in a humiliation I never auditioned for. Margaret Sullivan stood over me, her perfectly tailored navy suit sharp enough to cut, her blonde hair pulled back so tight it looked like it hurt, but nothing hurt as much as the venom in her voice. "Look at you," she repeated, slower this time, like she wanted to make sure I felt each syllable. "You can't even keep your desk organized. Papers everywhere. Coffee stains on reports. Do you know how unprofessional this looks?" My hands were shaking. I pressed them flat against my thighs, trying to steady myself, but my palms were already slick with sweat. The fabric of my jeans felt rough under my fingers, grounding me just enough to stay in my chair instead of running to the bathroom to cry. I wanted to say something, anything, but my brain was doing that thing it always does, that ADHD spiral where 1,000 thoughts crash into each other at once and none of them make it to my mouth. I opened my lips, but nothing came out except a small, pathetic breath. "Nothing to say?" Margaret's voice was ice. "Of course not. Just like you had nothing to say when you missed the deadline last week, or the week before that." I felt the tears coming. No. Not here. Not now. Not in front of everyone. But they came anyway, hot and fast, blurring my vision, sliding down my cheeks before I could stop them. And that's when I felt it. A hand. Warm. Steady. Fingers interlacing with mine. I looked up, and there she was. Ayanna. She was crouched beside my chair, her dark eyes locked on mine with an intensity that made my heart stutter. Her hand squeezed mine, gentle but firm, like she was trying to transfer some of her strength directly into my veins. "Hey," she whispered, so soft only I could hear. "You're okay. I've got you." Margaret's voice cut through the moment. "Ayanna, this doesn't concern you." "Actually, it does." Ayanna stood up, still holding my hand, and turned to face Margaret. Her voice was calm, controlled, but there was steel underneath. "This is completely inappropriate. If you have concerns about Keisha's performance, you handle that privately. Not like this." Margaret's jaw tightened. Her eyes flicked between Ayanna's face and our joined hands, and I saw something shift in her expression. She knew who Ayanna was. Everyone did. Robert Chen's daughter, the girl who could have been handed an executive title, but chose to work in IT because she actually liked solving problems instead of creating them. Margaret started, her tone already changing, softening, trying to backpedal. "You were just leaving," Ayanna said. Not a question, a statement. The office was silent. Patricia from accounting had her mouth hanging open. Daniel from HR looked like he wanted to disappear into his chair. Tamara, my best friend, was standing by the printer with her hand over her heart, eyes wide. Margaret straightened her blazer, cleared her throat. "We'll discuss this later, Keisha." She said my name like it tasted bad. Then she turned and walked away, her heels clicking against the floor in sharp, angry beats. Ayanna didn't let go of my hand. "Come on," she said quietly. "Let's get out of here." I couldn't feel my legs as I stood up. Couldn't feel anything except her hand in mine, and the weight of everyone's stares as we walked toward the door. "Where are you right now? What time is it where you're listening to this? I need you to stay with me because I'm still shaking just thinking about it. And I need to tell you what happened next. Please, just stay." Because that moment, that hand in mine, that changed everything. We ended up in the stairwell. The one nobody uses because the elevator's faster, and nobody in corporate America has time to climb 8 flights of stairs. It smelled like concrete and old paint, and our footsteps echoed in the empty space. Ayanna finally let go of my hand, and I immediately missed the warmth. "I'm sorry," I said, my voice still shaky. "You didn't have to do that. Now Margaret's going to—" "Margaret doesn't scare me." Ayanna leaned against the railing, crossing her arms. She was wearing a light blue button-down and dark jeans, and even in the harsh stairwell lighting, she looked beautiful. She should scare herself, honestly. The way she talks to people, that's not leadership. That's cruelty. I wiped my face with the back of my hand, trying to pull myself together. "She's not wrong, though. I can't keep up. My desk is a mess. I miss deadlines. You have ADHD, Ayanna said simply. "Right?" I froze. "How did you—" "I work in IT, Keisha. I see how you organize your files, how you name things, the patterns. She smiled, and it was gentle, not mocking. My brother has ADHD. I recognize it. Something in my chest loosened. Just a little. It's not an excuse, I said quietly. I should be better. I should be able to handle this job like everyone else. Or, Ayana said, pushing off the railing and taking a step closer, the job should be structured in a way that doesn't set you up to fail. Have you ever had accommodations? Support? I laughed, but it came out bitter. This is corporate America. You don't ask for help. You just figure it out or get left behind. That's bullshit. Her voice was firm. And you know it. Do you know what it's like to have someone see you? Really see you? Not the mess you think you are, but the person underneath trying so damn hard just to exist in a world that wasn't built for your brain? I didn't know what to say. So I just stood there, staring at her, and for the first time in years I felt seen. Thank you, I finally whispered. For back there. For this. Ayana's expression softened. Don't thank me for basic human decency. She paused, then added, Can I buy you lunch? My brain short-circuited. What? Lunch. Food. There's a good sandwich place 2 blocks from here. We can get out of this building for a bit. She tilted her head. Unless you need to get back to your desk and reorganize those papers? I snorted, and it surprised me. An actual laugh. I think Margaret would prefer if I just disappeared for the rest of the day. Perfect. Then let's disappear together. The sandwich shop was small, tucked between a dry cleaner and a bookstore. It smelled like fresh bread and roasted vegetables, and the guy behind the counter greeted Ayana by name. Regular? He asked. Yeah, and whatever she wants. Ayana gestured to me. I ordered a turkey avocado on wheat, and we sat by the window, watching people walk by on the street outside. Professionals in suits, college students with backpacks, a woman with a stroller navigating the uneven sidewalk. So, Ayana said, taking a bite of her sandwich, tell me about your daughter. I looked up, startled. How do you know I have a daughter? She smiled. You have a photo on your desk. Little girl with the biggest smile I've ever seen. Zara. Just saying her name made me feel warmer. She's everything. 7 years old. Obsessed with dinosaurs and refuses to wear anything that isn't purple. Sounds like she knows what she wants. More than I do. I picked at my sandwich. I'm raising her alone. Her dad. He's not in the picture. Never was, really. And my family. I trailed off. Complicated? Ayana offered. That's one word for it. I took a breath. They're very religious. Very traditional. When I told them when I came out, they said I was confused. That I just hadn't met the right man. And when I got pregnant with Zara, they saw it as proof. Like, see? You're not really gay. You were just going through a phase. Ayana's jaw tightened. That's fucked up? I finished. Yeah, it is. I was going to say painful, she said quietly. I'm sorry you went through that. I shrugged, trying to play it off. It is what it is. I have Zara. I have Tamara, my best friend. You saw her in the office. That's enough, is it? Ayana's eyes held mine, and there it was. That question I'd been avoiding for years. Was it enough? Was it enough to be alone? To keep my head down? Do my job poorly? Go home to my daughter? Rinse and repeat? Was it enough to watch Ayana from across the office for months, maybe years, knowing she'd never look at someone like me? Someone messy, disorganized, overweight, a single mom who could barely keep her life together, let alone be someone worth what? Worth loving? I don't know, I admitted. Ayana reached across the table and touched my hand, just her fingertips against my knuckles, but it sent electricity up my arm. You deserve more than enough, Keisha, she said. You deserve everything. My throat went tight again, but this time it wasn't from shame. It was from something else, something terrifying and hopeful all at once. I don't even know you, I said, but I didn't pull my hand away. Then let me fix that. She smiled. Hi, I'm Ayana Chen. I'm 32. I work in IT because I like fixing things that are broken, but I hate fixing people because people aren't broken. They're just figuring it out. I live in an apartment in Old City that's too expensive but has a view of the Delaware River, so I pretend it's worth it. I'm a lesbian, in case that wasn't obvious, and I've been wanting to talk to you for about 6 months, but I didn't know how. I blinked. 6 months? Maybe longer. She pulled her hand back, suddenly looking shy. You probably didn't notice. I'm good at blending in. I noticed. I blurted out before I could stop myself. Her eyebrows went up. You did? Of course I did. You're I gestured vaguely at her, feeling my face heat up. You're you. Everyone notices you. I don't care about everyone. Her voice was soft. I care that you noticed. What would you do if someone you'd been watching from a distance, someone you thought was completely out of your league, suddenly sat across from you and said they'd been watching you too? Would you believe them? Would you think it was some kind of trick? Because that's what I thought, that this was temporary, that tomorrow she'd wake up and realize she could do so much better than the mess sitting across from her. But for today, for this one moment in this tiny sandwich shop in Philadelphia, I let myself believe it. We walked back to the office slowly, taking the long way. Ayana pointed out little things, a mural on the side of a building, a community garden tucked between row houses, a coffee shop she liked that made the best cold brew in the city. You should come with me sometime, she said. To the coffee shop. Are you asking me on a date? My heart was pounding. She stopped walking and turned to face me. Would you say yes if I was? I thought about Zara, about my job, about Margaret's face when she pointed at me, about my family's voices in my head telling me I was wrong, broken, confused. And then I thought about Ayana's hand in mine, about being seen. Yes, I said. I'd say yes. Her smile could have lit up the entire street. That night, I told Tamara everything. We were sitting on my couch, Zara asleep in her room, and I was talking so fast I could barely keep up with my own thoughts. She asked me to coffee, Tam. Like, a date. An actual date. Tamara was grinning so wide I thought her face might split. I knew it. I fucking knew it. Knew what? That she liked you. Keisha. She's been looking at you for months. Every time she comes by our floor, her eyes go straight to your desk. You never told me this. Because you would have panicked and convinced yourself it wasn't real. Tamara threw a pillow at me. You're doing it right now. I can see it on your face. Stop it. I caught the pillow and hugged it to my chest. What if she changes her mind? What if she realizes I'm too much work? I have a kid, Tam. I can't just drop everything and date like a normal person. First of all, you are normal. Second, she knows you have a kid. She asked about Zara, didn't she? Yeah, but no buts. She likes you. You like her. Let yourself have this. I wanted to. God, I wanted to so badly. But there was this voice in the back of my head, the one that sounded like my mother, like every person who'd ever looked at me and found me lacking. What if I mess it up? I whispered. Tamara's expression softened. She moved closer and took my hand. Then you mess it up, and you try again. That's what life is, babe. Trying and messing up and trying again, but you can't mess up something you never start. She was right. I hated that she was right, but she was. Okay, I said. Okay, I'll go on the date. Damn right you will. Tamara squeezed my hand. And you're going to wear something cute, not those baggy jeans you've been hiding in. I'm not hiding. You're absolutely hiding. We're going shopping this weekend. I groaned, but I was smiling. The coffee date was on Saturday. Ayana picked a place in Fishtown, a neighborhood I didn't go to often because it was full of young, cool people who looked like they had their lives together. I almost canceled 3 times, but Tamara had physically taken my phone away and threatened to text Ayana herself if I didn't go. So there I was, standing outside a coffee shop called The Blessed Bean, wearing jeans that actually fit, and a shirt that Tamara had insisted showed off my curves in a good way. I felt exposed, visible, terrified. And then Ayana walked up, and she looked at me like I was the only person on the entire street. You look beautiful, she said. I wanted to argue, to deflect, to say something self-deprecating, but the look in her eyes stopped me. Thank you, I said instead. You too. She was wearing a casual green jacket over a white t-shirt, her hair down for once, curling around her shoulders. She looked softer outside the office, more relaxed. Ready? She asked. I nodded, and we went inside. The coffee shop was warm and smelled like cinnamon and espresso. We ordered. She got a cold brew. I got a vanilla latte, and found a corner table near the window. So, Ayana said, wrapping her hands around her cup. Full disclosure, I'm nervous. I almost choked on my coffee. You're nervous? Terrified, actually. She laughed. I don't do this often. Dating. I'm usually the person people come to when their computers break, not when they want to connect. I find that hard to believe. Why? She tilted her head, genuinely curious. Because I gestured at her again, that same helpless motion. You're confident, put together. You stood up to Margaret like it was nothing. That wasn't nothing. My hands were shaking the whole time. She looked down at her coffee. I just couldn't stand watching her treat you like that. It made me so angry I didn't think. I just acted. Why? I asked quietly. You didn't know me. Not really. Ayana was quiet for a moment. Then she said, do you believe in just knowing? Like, you see someone and something in you recognizes something in them? My breath caught. The first time I saw you, she continued, you were at your desk, and you were talking to yourself, just quietly, under your breath, like you were trying to remember something. And then you laughed at whatever you said, and it was the most genuine sound I'd heard in that office in years. I talk to myself a lot, I admitted. It helps me think. I know, I love it. She smiled. You're so unfiltered, so real. Everyone else in that building is performing all the time. But you're just you. Do you know what it's like to be told that the thing you've been ashamed of, the thing you've tried to hide and fix and apologize for, is actually what makes you lovable? I didn't know what to say, so I reached across the table and took her hand. She laced our fingers together, and it felt like coming home. We talked for hours, about everything and nothing. She told me about growing up as the daughter of a successful businessman, about the pressure to be perfect, about coming out to her father and his surprising acceptance. I told her about my family's rejection, about raising Zara alone, about the ADHD diagnosis I got in my 20s that finally made my whole life make sense. Do you ever feel like you're too much? I asked at one point. Like, your brain is too loud and too fast and people can't keep up. All the time, she said. But then I realized the right people don't need to keep up. They just need to walk beside you. I wanted to kiss her, right there in the coffee shop. But I was scared of moving too fast, scared of ruining this fragile, beautiful thing we were building. So instead I said, I really like you, Ayana. She smiled. I really like you too, Keisha. After coffee, we walked through the neighborhood. The day was cool but sunny, and the streets were busy with weekend crowds. We passed vintage shops and record stores and little restaurants with outdoor seating. At some point, our hands found each other again. Is this okay? Ayana asked. Yeah, I said. It's more than okay. An older woman walking past us frowned, and I felt Ayana's hand tighten around mine. Ignore her, Ayana said quietly, but I couldn't, because that frown was familiar. It was every disapproving look I'd gotten from my family, every stranger who'd seen me with a woman and decided I was wrong. Does it ever stop bothering you? I asked. The looks, the judgment. Ayana stopped walking and turned to face me. Honestly, sometimes it does. Sometimes I'm so happy I don't care what anyone thinks, and sometimes it hurts. But then I remember that their discomfort is their problem, not mine. I'm not living my life to make strangers comfortable. I wish I could be that confident. You can be. She reached up and tucked a strand of hair behind my ear, and the gentleness of the gesture made my heart ache. It just takes practice. We started walking again, and Ayana told me about her favorite spots in the city, about the reading series she went to in West Philly, about the Korean restaurant in Olney that made her feel connected to her mother's side of the family. You should bring Zara sometime, she said. They have the best dumplings. The fact that she wanted to include my daughter made something in my chest expand. She'd love that, I said. She's obsessed with trying new foods. Last week she convinced me to make sushi at home. It was a disaster, but she thought it was the best thing ever. Ayana laughed, and the sound made me feel lighter. We ended up at a small park, sitting on a bench and watching kids play on the swings. I thought about Zara, about how I'd explain this to her, about whether it was too soon to introduce Ayana into her life. What are you thinking? Ayana asked. That I don't know how to do this, I admitted. I haven't dated anyone since Zara was born. I don't know the rules. What if there are no rules? Ayana shifted to face me. What if we just figure it out as we go? That sounds terrifying. It sounds honest. She smiled. I don't have all the answers either, Keisha. I just know that I like being around you. That when I'm with you, I feel like I can breathe. I looked at her, really looked at her, and I saw it. The vulnerability underneath the confidence. The fear that maybe she wasn't enough either. Can I tell you something? I said. Anything. I've been watching you for months, at the office, and I thought you were so far out of my league that it was pointless to even hope. Hope for what? This. I gestured between us. You. I didn't think someone like you would ever look at someone like me. Ayana's expression shifted. something fierce coming into her eyes. Someone like you? Keisha, you're brilliant. You're funny and creative, and you love so hard it radiates off you. The only thing wrong is that you've been convinced you're not enough. Tears pricked my eyes again. I'm working on it. I know. She took both my hands in hers. And I'm here, for as long as you'll have me. This time I didn't think. I just leaned forward and kissed her. It was soft, tentative. Her lips were warm and tasted like coffee. And when she kissed me back, I felt the world tilt on its axis. When we pulled apart, she was smiling. I've been wanting to do that since the stairwell, she admitted. Me too. We sat there on that bench, holding hands and watching the world go by. And for the first time in a long time, I let myself feel hopeful. The next few weeks were a blur of stolen moments and late-night texts. Ayana and I would meet for lunch, for coffee, for walks through different neighborhoods. She started coming over to my apartment, and Zara adored her immediately. "Mama, is Miss Ayana your girlfriend?" Zara asked one night after Ayana had left. I froze. Would that be okay with you if she was? Zara thought about it seriously. Does she make you happy? Yeah, baby, she does. Then it's okay. Zara went back to her dinosaur coloring book like it was the simplest thing in the world. Kids, man. They get it in a way adults never do. Work was harder. Margaret had been watching me like a hawk since the incident, and I knew she was building a case to get rid of me. Every small mistake was documented. Every late email noted. "She's trying to push you out," Tamara said one day at lunch. "You need to talk to HR." And say what? That she's mean to me? They'll say I'm being sensitive. She humiliated you in front of the entire office. And Ayana already made her back down. If I push this, it'll look like I'm using my relationship with Ayana to protect myself. Tamara sighed. "You're too good for this place." Maybe she was right, but I had bills to pay and a daughter to feed, so I kept my head down and tried to survive. Ayana noticed, though. She always noticed. "You're exhausted," she said one night. We were at my apartment, sitting on the couch after Zara had gone to bed. "Margaret's still on your case, isn't she?" "It's fine. I can handle it." "You shouldn't have to." She turned to face me. "My dad owns the company, Keisha. I could talk to him." "No." The word came out sharper than I intended. "I don't want to be the person who gets special treatment because she's dating the owner's daughter. That'll make everything worse. You're not getting special treatment. You're getting protected from a bully. It's the same thing to everyone else." I rubbed my face. "I need to do this myself. I need to prove I can." Ayana was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "Okay, but if it gets worse, promise me you'll let me help." "I promise." She kissed my forehead, and I leaned into her, letting her warmth chase away some of the cold that Margaret's presence always left behind. It got worse. Margaret started criticizing my appearance, my clothes, my hair, the way I organized my desk. Nothing was ever right, and I felt myself shrinking back into the person I'd been before Ayana, small, afraid, convinced I was the problem. "Maybe she's right," I said to Tamara one day. We were in the bathroom, and I was staring at myself in the mirror. "Maybe I'm just not cut out for this job." "Don't let her do this to you," Tamara said fiercely. "Don't let her make you doubt yourself." But the doubt was already there. It had always been there, just waiting for someone like Margaret to water it and watch it grow. That night, I told Ayana I needed space. "Space from what?" she asked. We were on the phone, and I could hear the confusion in her voice. "From this. Us. I can't think straight. Everything's too much. Keisha, talk to me. What's going on? I'm falling behind at work. Zara's teacher wants to meet about her behavior. My mom called and left a message saying she wants to talk about my choices. I can't add a relationship on top of all that. I'm not something you add," Ayana said quietly. "I'm someone who helps you carry it. You don't understand." My voice broke. "You have your life together. You're successful and confident and everyone respects you. I'm just trying to survive." There was a long silence. Then Ayana said, "Do you want to break up with me?" The question hung in the air like a blade. Did I? Or was I just scared? "I don't know," I whispered. "Okay." Her voice was steady, but I could hear the hurt underneath. "Take the space you need. But Keisha, when you figure out what you want, I'll be here." She hung up, and I sat on my couch and cried until Zara came out of her room and climbed into my lap. "Why are you sad, Mama?" "Just grown-up stuff, baby." "Is it about Miss Ayana?" I nodded. "Did you have a fight?" "Sort of." Zara was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "When I fight with my friends, we say sorry and hug. Maybe you should hug Miss Ayana. It's more complicated than that." "Why?" And honestly, I didn't have a good answer. I avoided Ayana at work for 3 days. It wasn't hard. She worked on a different floor, and I timed my breaks to avoid running into her. But on the 4th day, Margaret called me into her office. I knew it was coming. I'd felt it building for weeks. "Sit down," she said, not looking up from her computer. I sat. "I'll be direct." Margaret said, "Your performance has been unacceptable. You've missed multiple deadlines. Your work is sloppy, and your attitude has been resistant to feedback. I've been trying. Trying isn't enough." She finally looked at me, and her eyes were cold. "I'm putting you on a performance improvement plan. You have 30 days to show significant improvement, or we'll have to let you go." My heart sank. "Margaret, please. This isn't personal, Keisha. It's business." But the small smile on her face said otherwise. I walked out of her office, feeling like I'd been punched in the stomach. Tamara found me in the bathroom 10 minutes later, sobbing in a stall. "She's trying to fire you," Tamara said. "I know. You need to fight this." "How? She has documentation. She has evidence. I can't." "Then let Ayana help you." "I can't." I wiped my face. I already pushed her away. Why would she help me now? Tamara grabbed my shoulders. "Because she loves you, you idiot." I froze. "She doesn't." "Yes, she does. And you love her too. So stop running and let someone be there for you." Was Tamara right? Did Ayana love me? Did I love her? The answer was yes. Of course it was yes. I'd known since that first coffee date. Maybe even before that. Maybe since the moment she crouched beside my chair and held my hand. But love was terrifying. Love meant vulnerability. Love meant trusting someone not to break you. And I'd been broken so many times before. That night, I called Ayana. She answered on the second ring. "Keisha, I'm sorry." The words came out in a rush. "I'm sorry I pushed you away. I'm sorry I said I needed space. I was scared and overwhelmed and I took it out on you. It's okay. It's not okay. You've been nothing but kind to me. And I don't know how to accept that. I don't know how to let someone love me without waiting for them to realize I'm not worth it. Keisha." Her voice was soft. "You're worth everything. When are you going to believe that?" "I'm trying." Tears were streaming down my face again. "Margaret put me on a performance plan. She's trying to fire me." "What?" Ayana's voice sharpened. "When?" "Today. I have 30 days. That's bullshit. She's targeting you. Maybe, but I can't prove it. Let me talk to my dad." "Ayana, please, just let me help you." I wanted to say no, to insist I could handle it myself. But Tamara's words echoed in my head. "Let someone be there for you." "Okay," I said quietly. "Okay." Ayana didn't just talk to her dad. She dug into Margaret's files. Legally, she told me over coffee 2 days later, but thoroughly. "What did you find?" "Discrepancies. Financial ones. Margaret's been approving expenses that don't add up. Equipment purchases that were never delivered. Vendor contracts with companies that don't exist." My eyes widened. "She's stealing from the company?" "Looks like it." I showed my dad the preliminary findings. He's bringing in an external auditor. "Ayana, this could blow back on you." "I don't care." She reached across the table and took my hand. "You matter more to me than this job. Than any job." There it was again. That feeling of being seen, being chosen. "I love you," I said. The words fell out before I could stop them. Ayana's eyes widened. Then she smiled, and it was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. "I love you too," she said. "I have for a while now." We sat there, holding hands across the table, and for the first time since this whole mess started, I felt like maybe things would be okay. The audit took 2 weeks. During that time, Margaret became increasingly erratic. She started snapping at everyone, not just me. She missed meetings. She looked exhausted. I almost felt bad for her. Almost. Because every time I started to soften, I remembered that finger in my face, that voice dripping with contempt. "Look at you." The results of the audit came back on a Friday. Robert Chen called an emergency meeting with the executive team, and by Monday morning, Margaret's office was empty. She'd been fired for embezzlement. The company was pressing charges. Tamara burst into my cubicle with the news. "She's gone! Margaret's gone!" I couldn't quite process it. "She's... what?" "Fired. Escorted out by security. Apparently she's been stealing from the company for over a year." I sank into my chair, overwhelmed. "You're safe," Tamara said, squeezing my shoulder. "Your performance plan is null and void. Robert himself cleared your file." I don't know what to say. Say thank you to your girlfriend who's a literal superhero. I laughed, and it felt like releasing a breath I'd been holding for months. That night, Ayana came over. Zara was at a sleepover, so it was just us. Thank you, I said as soon as she walked through the door. For everything. For believing in me. For fighting for me. You don't have to thank me. She pulled me into a hug, and I buried my face in her shoulder. I'd do it 1,000 times over. We stood there in my tiny apartment, holding each other, and I felt something shift inside me. This was real. This was permanent. Move in with me, Ayana said suddenly. I pulled back to look at her. What? Move in with me. You and Zara. My place is bigger, and it's closer to her school. We can make it work. Ayana, that's huge. I know. She cupped my face in her hands. But I don't want to spend another night without you. I want to wake up next to you. I want to have breakfast with Zara and hear about her dinosaur facts. I want to build a life with you. My heart felt like it was going to burst. Yes, I said. Yes, we'll move in with you. She kissed me, and it was different from all the other kisses. It was a promise. 2 years later, I stood in front of the same office building in Philadelphia, but everything was different. I was wearing a tailored suit that actually fit. My hair was done. I felt powerful. Robert Chen had approached me 6 months after Margaret's firing. The interim CEO wasn't working out, and he wanted someone who understood the company from the ground up. You've been here for years, he said. You know the people. You know the work. And Ayana speaks very highly of you. I'm not qualified, I said automatically. Neither was the last person. And look how that turned out. He smiled. I'm not asking you to be perfect, Keisha. I'm asking you to be honest and fair. Can you do that? I thought about Margaret, about the way she'd wielded power like a weapon. Yes, I said. I can do that. So here I was. CEO. Me. The single mom who could barely keep her desk organized. Except I wasn't that person anymore. I'd started therapy, got on medication that actually helped with the ADHD, started working out. Not to be smaller, but to be stronger, to feel capable in my own body. Ayana had been there every step of the way, cheering me on, holding my hand when I doubted myself. And Zara? She told everyone at school that her mom was the boss of a whole company, and her other mom was a computer genius. Yeah, other mom. We'd gotten married last year in a small ceremony in Fairmount Park. Just close friends and Zara, who wore a purple dress and carried the rings. My family didn't come, but Ayana's dad did, and Tamara was my maid of honor, and that was more than enough. I walked into the building and rode the elevator up to the executive floor. My office. My name on the door. CEO Keisha Thompson Chen. I still had to pinch myself sometimes. Patricia from accounting stopped me in the hallway. Morning, boss. Coffee? That'd be great. Thanks, boss. I was someone's boss. I settled into my office chair and looked at the photo on my desk. Me, Ayana, and Zara at the beach last summer. All 3 of us laughing, covered in sand, completely happy. This life, this beautiful, imperfect, chaotic life. I'd almost given it up because I didn't think I deserved it, but I did. I do. And if you're listening to this story and you're in that place I was, the place where you think you're too much or not enough or too broken to be loved, I need you to hear me. You deserve it too. You deserve the person who sees you, who holds your hand, who fights for you even when you can't fight for yourself. You deserve the career that seems impossible, the happiness that feels too big. You deserve everything, and it's out there waiting for you. You just have to be brave enough to reach for it. There's a knock on my office door, and Ayana walks in with 2 cups of coffee. Thought you might need this, she says, setting one on my desk. You're a lifesaver. She leans down and kisses me, soft and sweet. How's your morning? Better now. Good. She straightens up, but her hand lingers on my shoulder. Dinner tonight? I'm making that pasta you love. Can't wait. She heads toward the door, then pauses. Hey, Keisha. Yeah? I'm proud of you. My throat gets tight. I love you. I love you too. And then she's gone. Back to her computers and her codes and her beautiful, brilliant brain. I turn back to my desk, to the work waiting for me, and I smile. Because this is my life now, and it's everything I never knew I needed. So that's my story. That's how a humiliating moment at a desk in Philadelphia turned into the greatest love of my life. That's how I went from barely surviving to thriving. I'm not going to lie and say it was easy. There were hard days. Days when the ADHD made me want to scream. Days when imposter syndrome whispered that I didn't belong in this office, in this life. Days when I looked in the mirror and still saw that scared woman Margaret pointed at. But those days got fewer and farther between, because I had Ayana, and Zara, and Tamara, and eventually, I had myself. I learned to be gentle with my brain instead of fighting it. I learned that needing help doesn't make me weak. I learned that love, real love, doesn't ask you to be perfect. It just asks you to be present. If this story touched you, if it made you feel something, I'd love for you to share it. Leave a comment telling me your story, or just letting me know you were here, because that's what we do, right? We tell our stories so other people know they're not alone. This is Loving Voice, where we share stories of love between women. Real love, messy love, the kind that changes you from the inside out. Hit that like button if this story resonated with you. Subscribe if you want to hear more stories like this. And remember, you deserve to be loved exactly as you are. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Until next time, keep loving fiercely.